Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant, and today I want to talk about something other than cameras. I want to talk about lighting, including a really terrific opportunity to win some lighting kit courtesy of our buds over at B&H. So hold that thought. The thing of it is, lighting, continuous artificial lighting, is way more important than many people realize, even in this era of full-frame cameras with ISO ratings all the way up to 204,800 or higher. And it is absolutely critical for us here at Three Blind Men and an Elephant. That's because we want to shoot at base ISO wherever and whenever we can for a number of reasons. One, as most of you probably already know, this keeps noise to a minimum. That's especially important for us because we use crop sensor cameras. The Panasonic GH5, which is our daily driver and I'm filming with right now, and the Sony a6300. Two, with more limited dynamic range than something like the Sony a7 III, which is fantastic, it's important for us to use light on set and on location to reduce the dynamic range with which our cameras have to contend. Three, if you actually look at the relationship between dynamic range and ISO, you'll see that DR steadily and quickly drops as you dial up ISO. Photons to photos, photos to photon, whatever. They test just these kinds of things. So let's just take a look. Contrary to marketing literature, their test of the Sony a7 III dynamic range, which is best of the bunch, shows that it maxes out at just under 12 stops at base ISO, and by ISO 6400 is essentially halved to a bit more than 6 stops. The flip side, and this may also be a shocker to many of you, our little GH5 actually outperforms my old Canon 5D Mark II for dynamic range at base ISO. Underperforms the full-frame Nikon Z7 by just 1 stop at base ISO, and by the time even the best of these cameras reach ISO 25,600, their dynamic range is no better than iPhone 7 running at 1600 with, let's assume, some kind of lighting. At base ISO of 25, the iPhone 7's dynamic range is better than all of them at ISO 6400. And then, of course, there's the simple fact that ambient light rarely cooperates with us, shifting as rapidly as the clouds floating between us and the sun, all the while threatening to give us harsh shadows in all the wrong places, because diffusers, scrims, flags are also part of lighting. In other words, and to reiterate, lighting matters, and controlled lighting is the answer. And cost matters too, a lot, especially for us, since over the last year as our output has risen pretty dramatically, both on our YouTube channel and because of our 22-episode web documentary series. And we've had to upgrade both of our computers and a pile of storage, almost 100 terabytes. Then there were also the additions of a Sony 24-105 f4, a Leica Vario Elmarit 12-62.8-4, and that Damoclean sword of an a7 III or a7 R3 hanging over our heads for Claudia. Yeah, I bet more than a few of you can relate. Now, some of you have noticed that I've been experimenting recently with our lighting in the Batcave, today too, alternating between, say, Vermeer and James Whale. That's because we recently changed the backdrop from a series of movie posters, some of my all-time favorites ranging from Casablanca to Zoolander, Pi, Back to the Future, True Lies, Philadelphia Story. Anyway, you get the point, eclectic. To this 4-foot by 8-foot print of an image Claudia took of me recently on the streets of Soho in New York City. The issue is that we suddenly have to deal with reflections, and with limited space both above and to either side of my editing suite, it hasn't been easy. Flags haven't done it for me because thus far I haven't figured out how to do it while keeping them out of frame. Angling the light works to a point, aided by a whiteboard as fill on the opposite side. Sometimes, I'm not doing that today though, but it's not ideal and has become a bit too dramatic, I think. I've also been thinking about our location interview kit, where size, weight, speed, and output all matter, as once again does cost. I'll talk about what that means for audio another time. In any case, the fact is that for the last several years, we've standardized on Aputure lighting because their products have struck me as an optimal set of trade-offs given what we do and what we're willing to spend. decent build quality that I first discovered with the HR672C has become excellent over time as they've released new products like the Lightstorm series and continue to mature as a company. Their products are innovative, they're reliable, we've never had a failure. They offer excellent light quality, again for what we do. Their Lightstorm line is so quiet that I don't need to address the issue in post. All of their off-camera lights except for the LS Minis come with a remote that I use often. Their pricing is aggressive, relatively inexpensive compared to the Arri SoftBank 4 kit which I replaced, or say, light panels. But on the other hand, not inexpensive by the standards of many when the difference, say, between a $1,500 Fuji X-T3 or $2,000 Sony A7 III is significant. Now, our key light in the Batcave is Aputure's 645 Lightstorm LS-C120 tungsten run through their light dome. Our studio key and fill lighting consists of a pair of $400 LS1/2Ws and one of their $700 LS1 as studio panels. And for product accents, we use their $720 Lightstorm Mini Flight Kit. Now, full disclosure, the first units we tried from Aputure were shipped to us as demos, but I've subsequently spent our own hard cash to round out our kit. But when we got the panels, bicolor wasn't an option. They are now, at least for the LS1. And I prefer bicolor, especially for our interview kit where it's easier to blend with ambient light, and I'm willing to trade off a little output for that. I wish the lights were even smaller, and yeah, on the other hand, okay, fine, I'm piggy, more powerful. I wish that there were fewer connections between head, power, and control unit because I like to pack small and I like to be futz-free, though at the same time, I actually appreciate the logic of separating them in terms of weight, balance, and accessibility. I wish they had an iPhone app instead of dedicated remotes that I seem congenitally predisposed to misplacing. I wish they had even more sophisticated and varied light modifiers. In the meantime, given the reflections on our new backdrop, I recently bought their Light Dome Mini with the grid to see if it would solve at least that problem, while not giving up that gorgeous soft light from the 38-inch Light Dome. I'm using the Mini with the grid right now. Of course, I also could have bought their only slightly smaller 34.5-inch $219 Light Dome 2 with grid, but it's not shipping yet and I didn't want to wait. And then a couple of things happened in rapid succession. Have you ever noticed that when you're thinking about something, suddenly you see a whole lot more of that thing? Well, first, we saw Broncolor's new F160 LED monolight at Photokina, and it looked gorgeous. Made in Switzerland, it's bicolor, has a CRI above 98, and yes, I know, there are multiple CRI measures. You can argue that CRI is not the right metric, yada, yada, yada. It is controllable by a smartphone app. I really like that. They've got a nice collection of proven modifiers, and as with Aputure, we like supporting smaller companies. But Broncolor is not inexpensive, even if the F160 is relative to other Broncolor units. The mount is proprietary. There's no built-in battery as there is with their Ceros 800L monolight flash. At an anticipated $1,700 a pop compared to $745 for the okay, it's still a single color temperature Aputure C120D2 or $1,100 for the 300D, the F160 will have to be really special for us to be willing to plunk down that kind of money, but to be determined as the F160 is not yet shipping and we are waiting on eval unit. Then the maker of Falcon Eyes sent us an email asking if we'd like to review their BL10TD LED monolight. That unit is also bicolor. It has a rechargeable and removable lithium-ion battery inside the head, rated for about 50 minutes at full power, and it has a Bowens mount too. At $533, it's less expensive than the C120D2. We're testing one now. Next, at PhotoPlus Expo, we met the guy behind Anthem 1, and that is a really interesting unit. Now, this one is priced at about $1,500, the higher side of midway between the 300D and the Broncolor F160. It's a very compact cube, which in theory offers twice the output of the 300D, which in theory is about the same as the F160, and has the added distinction of interchangeable, different color temperature chips at $170 a pop. It's a whopping 7.6 pounds excluding the power supply, though I'm not sure if that's right. Maybe there's an internal battery. I'll have to check. We're working to get a unit in for eval shortly as well. Frankly, I suspect this is simultaneously more and less than we need, but what can I say? I have a soft spot for beautiful industrial design and esoterica. Finally, back to 3 other lighting fixtures offering a different set of trade-offs that are much more affordable for many of us, and thanks to B&H will be giving away. So let's get into that right now. First up is the Generate Monobright LED Bicolor 750. At $250, it's between 1/3 and 1/4 the price of Aputure's COB series lights, yet it is bicolor, has an optional wireless remote, and at 2.6 pounds for the unit itself is closing in on half the weight of the 4.9-pound Aputure 120C D2. Color rendition index is not quite spec'd to Aputure level, 90 versus Aputure's 96, and output is quoted at the equivalent of a 750-watt open-face tungsten light versus the 120 D2's 1,000-watt fixture equivalent. I'm looking forward to an extended test of this unit and learning how I feel about this particular set of trade-offs. Next up is a 35-inch Angler boombox octagonal softbox with Bowen's mount, normally $249, but selling at the moment for $149, the same price as the Light Dome. Like Aputure's Light Dome, it's double diffused, but like Westcott's Rapid Box, it sets up much more quickly like an umbrella, and has a deflector plate to make the light, in theory, even softer, more of a beauty light. I'm looking forward to spending time testing that one too. Finally, I've been curious about the kind of LED fixture which has a ring of LEDs mounted at the edge and aimed inward with the diffuser built in. So in a bid to explore that kind of technology, we've got the $299 Generate Crux 10-inch round bicolor LED. It's spec'd at a CRI of 95, but its output is significantly lower than the other lights with a much smaller surface area than the other diffusers. At 2.5 pounds, it's about the same as the Generate 750, but the premise of the Crux is that there's no extra diffuser to carry either. You can power the Crux with a smaller Sony NP style battery. Through tomorrow, October 31st anyway, it's selling for $229 and comes with their SL57 dimmable LED on-camera light as well. So, stay tuned for reviews on all of this kit. In the meantime, the grand prize winner will get to pick any 2 of these 3 products from B&H, while the second place winner wins the other thing, which kind of reminds me of that scene in Analyze This.
So did you take care of that thing I asked you about?
Is it all right to talk business in front of your friend?
It's okay.
I took care of it.
About the other thing?
I gotta wait for the first thing to come through before I can move on the second thing.
Think I could get a problem? No.
The guy the first thing?
Yeah.
He's a lunatic.
Anyway, here's how it works. Every time you use our affiliate links to purchase anything at B&H, you're automatically entered to win. When you subscribe to our email list, you're automatically entered to win. If you follow us on Twitter, you're automatically entered to win. If you follow us on Instagram, you are automatically entered to win either the Generays or the Angler Boombox. Now, I'm chuffed that we can bring these kinds of odds to you guys. So thank you, B&H, and thank you, Stuart, for supporting the work we do. And best of luck to you guys. We'll run this until December 31st and then announce the winners first week of January. That's it. If you like what you've seen here today, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, join the conversation below. You guys continue to be just incredible, knowledgeable, inspiring, funny. I mean, you're a joy, truly. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Grab one or both of our new Hold That Thought t-shirts you wanted us to put up at our new 3BMEPthreadless.com store. Support our work by using our affiliate links down below in the show notes, dropping us coffee money via our PayPal link down below in the show notes, or even better than that, we invite you to become a patron of our work over at Patreon. Link down below. We've created our Patreon page because we are stoked to bring you not only gear reviews, but with our What Were You Thinking and Good World Gone Bad series, historical, educational, artistic morsels, and longer form conversations, not interviews, with world-class photographers, curators, gallery owners, keepers of the legacy, folks like Elliot Irwitt, Anya Sear, Mark Lubell, Ethylene Staley, and friends like Brian Smith, Paul Giroux, Nino Rakicevic, and more. we'd really like you to join us to deliver this kind of content regularly. Your support on Patreon will really help us ramp it up. In which case, as always, we thank you for it. That's it. For Three Blind Men and an Elephant, I'm Hugh Brownstone. See you next time.